Hello, you're welcome to What the Papers Are Saying. Grateful for making time to join us for another edition. My name is Vivian Kai Loco. Now, What the Papers Are Saying basically looks at the big stories for the week. We look at the various angles as reported by various media outlets and matters arising from those stories. When I come back, I'll take you through the big stories and introduce the gentleman that I'll be having today's discussion with. To stay with us, we'll be right back. So yeah, welcome back to What the Papers Are Saying. So let's go through the big stories for the week. We'll start with stories around the campaign from both political parties, the MPP and the NDC. And we'll start with former President John Mahama because he's been making some interesting points on how he intends to fight illegal mining if he becomes president again. So let's see what he's been saying. Let's go to Daily Graphic. They say we will restore galamsey lands forest. This is ex-President Mahama speaking. The New Finder says Mahama reveals all AI-powered plan to combat galamsey. Mahama reveals AI-powered plan to combat galamsey. And then we wrap up with that story. We go to Citi Newsroom. They say Mahama's AI proposal to combat galamsey, a vote-seeking gimmick. This is Ahiagba speaking there. We still stay with politics, but we'll move to the ongoing limited voter registration exercise and see where we've gotten with that. Let's start with the Chronicle. They say alleged electoral violence, NDC exonerates Collins Dauda. Republic Press says police warns public against misconduct at registration centers. And Citi Newsroom says voter registration violence signals risk for December polls. This is the Peace Council speaking. We'll still stay with politics because a lot of stories around politics this week. Let's take you to the MPP's camp and let's take you to Dr. Bawumia and what he's been saying. We start with the Informer. It says taxing churches wrong. Bawumia declares, clarifies statement. The New Finder says taxing churches, FBOs will be counterproductive. Dr. Bawumia. And still with him, we'll go to Citi Newsroom. They say Ghana would struggle without the churches and FBOs. I will not tax them. This is Dr. Bawumia speaking. We'll still stay with a bit of politics mixed with the banking industry and the story around the NIB boss appointment. Some backlash over that because of a bit of exposure to, or some exposure to politics, which is the two new gentlemen that have been appointed. We'll start with the Herald. They say NPP parliamentary candidates made MD of state-owned bank. The New Finder, for quotes critics wrong, banking consultant Siga Bosse calls for his removal lacks merit. Citi Newsroom, Akufo-Addo has turned NIB into a hub for party foot soldiers, as a minority speaking. Still with Citi Newsroom, parliamentary candidates say won't interfere with bank duties. The new NIB boss has been speaking. So let's wrap up with flooding. The rains are here and some disturbing developments around the rains this week started on Monday. We'll look at stories around that. We start with the Ghanaian Times. Kaneshi Kaswa gridlock. Commuters abandon Trotro to go home on foot. Citi Newsroom. Government must be blamed for Accra's perennial flooding. Oklete Taylor be speaking over there. And finally, on the floods, Malam Kaswa Road, storm drains to fix flood issues to be completed in 17 months. So those are the big stories for the week. A lot around politics and the big one to do with the floods. When I come back, I'll introduce my panel for today. Stay with us. Yeah, welcome back to What the Papers Are Saying. My name is Vivian Kai Loco. Today I have two gentlemen with me. One who on a normal day will be sitting in this chair when I'm not around, but today he's joining us to be part of the panel that will discuss the issues as reported by the various media outlets. By day, he is the host of Eyewitness News. Omar Sanda Amadou, welcome to What the Papers Are Saying.
Hello, Shine Bobo. Do your viewers know that that's your name?
We don't do that here.
Oh, no, I'm just saying, but I mean...
I don't know.
Okay.
And I don't even know what you're talking about.
Shine Bobo.
But welcome.
Thank you, La Janet Jackson. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
It's good to see you.
Good to have you. You know, I haven't had you here, but I have you in the seat.
I know, but you haven't told the people that when you travel to America and those ways, then you leave me here. And when you come back, you don't bring me Ferrero Rocher or any of those
But
things.
I thought you don't do chocolate. You do cow milk.
It's okay. Introduce her.
Okay. So we also have one of our permanents here, Samir Yafi, also a presidential correspondent for us. Sami, welcome.
Thank you very much, Vivian.
All right. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us. We'll start with some politics, of course. We'll start with the NDC's candidate, ex-President Mahama. He's been speaking on what he intends to do to fight illegal galamsey, a big issue which past and present governments have failed to solve. We ourselves have even embarked on a campaign on it, and we still haven't found a solution to it. But he is saying that he intends to use AI to fight the canker. Some say it's a good thing to do. Others are a bit, you know, what do you think? Good thing?
Yeah, Vivian, thank you so much. It's good to be here. I pray that on our way home, the rains will let us go home safely.
No, we'll come to the rains at the point.
Truth is, we've been mining as a country since the colonials, since the Europeans came here, since they colonized Ghana. That's why we're called the Gold Coast. So it means we've always had gold on our earth, at the belly of the earth, and we've been digging that all the time. And this has been for centuries. Even when we became independent, we've been mining. How come in the last decade or so, this issue of galamsey has come up? All right, that's actually where we should start considering it from.
Yeah.
So is it the generation now that is a problem? Because since galamsey started, and since it became a big issue, and since we as a media house, based on our observation, we realized that no, if we sat and watched, sat aloof, galamsey is really going to become a bigger problem for us. And we raised that campaign, the Stop Galamsey in our campaign since 2017. What are the key measures that were taken? So the president at the time, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, told us that he was putting his presidency on the line for galamsey. Now that's a very big statement to make. If someone is a president of the land, and being a president is not an easy thing. He's been trying to be president since '97, so it took him 20 years to become president. He knows the struggle, and he says to us that he's going to put his presidency on the line. It means that he's showing us some level of commitment. To be fair, they started some work. So a lot of interventions came up. The first and major one, we saw boots on the ground. So we sent soldiers on the ground, Navy officers, they were diving in the water, chasing these galamseyers. Nothing came out of that. Then we decided to deploy drones. We said, oh, the drones will be in the air, and then they will see the people when they are digging or destroying our water bodies, we would jump in there. That hasn't yielded much results. Then we went to seizing excavators. We said, oh, as for now, we're going to seize the excavators from the people. Some of them will bring them to Accra. Some we just simply burn them on site.
Remember, we even went to the Medina spot. Is it Medina, right?
Adenta Highway.
Where you went to climb
They are still there.
Yeah.
They are still there. Those excavators that have been brought, and they are there. So we brought some we decided to burn. The unlawful nature of that is also a subject of debate. There are people who are in court. And, you know, even the worrying part is that we are going to suffer judgment debts. I foresee that happening because of the galamsey in the future, because you've collected my machine, you've come to park it in Adenta for 7 years, for 8 years. Okay, the production that I'm losing, who is going to pay? If eventually I go to court and the court rules that my vehicle that you took was meant for fixing roads, or maybe for digging manholes, or whatever it is, and you decide that you stop me just simply because I was driving or operating a machine with no evidence I was using for galamsey, and you seize it and you pack it, a lot of them have their spare parts stolen. So they are sitting there, they are skeletons actually. You see it as a machine, but nothing really is in there. We went on with the burning. Then the next thing we decided that we would reclaim the land. And we went into the reclamation. But after all these years, we created a special purpose committee where we have a number of ministers, interministerial sectorial committee, IMCIM. We said that we are going to fight this thing. And yet, after 7 years, we still haven't found a solution. Now, if all of these things have been done, and we haven't seen a solution, and former President Mahama says he's going to introduce AI, you see, based on the history, and it may not be the same government, and this is different from NPP, but based on the history, and during Mahama's time, there was some mining, there was some illegal mining at a point. And he campaigned in 2016 on galamsey, he campaigned on 2020, and we know what his position on that matter is. For him to say to us that he's going to deploy AI, I mean, AI is helpful. AI is helping in news writing, in love letter writing.
Medicine.
AI is doing everything. But the practicalities of AI in a forest in Obuasi or on the Pra River or the Akobra River, I don't know. I'm still waiting to get that full explanation. Because for me, if the drones could not work, the soldiers could not work. But if the AI discovers that there's galamsey happening,
I mean,
the soldiers we found that some of the soldiers were very compromised. Some of the police people who were used were compromised. Even the interministerial committee on mining, they were compromised. Now, it is a human beings who are going to implement what the AI does. And for me, I don't want to be pessimist or pessimistic, but honestly, just saying that I'll use AI to fight. So
you believe it's just another, measure, but it wouldn't go that far.
I think the fight against galamsey is a decision by the leaders, and that decision, whether it's an AI or it's a robot or whoever is going to run it, if you do not have the decision and you are not convinced that you want to fight this, is pointless. And I don't see us getting anywhere. Because over 7 years, if the president has put his presidency on the line and nothing has come out of it, I'm not sure AI can do much. No. Because it's a commitment of the person who is in the government. He commands the armed forces. And if we send soldiers to the bushes all these years and they are still having mining issues happening, at a point when they started the gidi-gidi, we saw that the water bodies were being restored. Suddenly, it is problem again. If you fly to Takrady and you see the river Ankobra below, it looks like groundnut soup. Now, we know that the Ghana Water Company Limited is complaining to us about challenges with processing water. We are lucky the Water River has not been touched. But the day they will touch the Water River, the day they hear that there's gold at the northern part of the river and they go in there, we are done, Vivian. And the water that we are going to start importing into this country is really going to be the problem, because we can't drink the seawater. It is a painful situation. For me, I'm happy that the former president says he'll fight it, but I'm trying to remember his promise against galamsey and trying to juxtapose, and I'm wondering, is he really going to?
Sami,
Vivian,
you are the presidency in terms of reporting from there. We all know what the president has said about galamsey, what he's done around galamsey, and reports that have been presented to the presidency, which have been thrown away, quote unquote, and the issues that have come out of it. A gentleman who was at the forefront of fighting galamsey came out to tell us what was happening, Professor Frimpong, and all that has come out of it.
Still where we are, and nothing really new has happened. We should just admit that we've lost the fight against illegal mining. We should just admit it, because galamsey started even way before, but it was through the help of the media and Citi FM that we got to know how it was really destroying the environment, until the media decided to give attention to this whole galamsey fight. We didn't know how destructive it was until we saw videos and pictures and what the situation was in the villages and in the forests and the rest. And as Umaru mentioned, governments went in there. President Akufo-Addo put his presidency on the line. Soldiers were put in there. Everybody got involved. But as time went on, the fight, for me, if you ask me, has been lost. The new Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Abu Jinapo, has said over and over again that the fight has not been lost. They are still doing their best to ensure that galamsey is dealt with, and he's doing everything that he can. But then you fight this fight with human beings involved. You started with the soldiers. We had reports of how the soldiers were being compromised.
Yeah.
We heard how the chiefs were also being compromised. We saw and heard how Minerals Commission officials and the people who were supposed to give license to these people were also compromised. Forestry Commission officials were also compromised. Now, the people who are supposed to help you implement the fight are compromised. That means the fight has been lost. I'm glad the former president said he's going to use technology. Umar said, it's the human being that mans the technology. If you use the AI and you power it, the person on the ground who is supposed to give the report to the AI and do whatever, what if that person is also compromised? Are we going to get the right picture? Galamsey has become, how will I describe it? We can't fight it, especially when we have the chiefs involved. We saw videos of Otunfo, the stolen chiefs, because of their involvement in Galamsey. We know political leaders who are involved in the fight against Galamsey and the politicians who are involved. And so if the people who are telling that they want to stop it are rather involved, how do you stop it? And they will tell you because there's no job, the local people are getting involved in Galamsey. And you see this excavators. The local person mining Galamsey can't buy an excavator. Yeah. It is the politicians who buy the 500 excavators you saw there. Can the local Galamsey buy? No.
The businessmen and
the last time I checked, excavator costs between $200,000 to $300,000. The guy down there can't buy excavator. He can't. It is a politician who imports into the country. And when they import it, what's the purpose? It's for Galamsey. It's never for construction. Even if for construction, the Galamsey people or the people involved will go and rent it out. And then go and do their operations with it, and then send it back to the people who are involved. And I'm told that if you rent for one day, it's about 10,000 cedis or so. So imagine you rent it for a whole month. Yeah. So you know the amount of money they are making. So, Vivian, for me, I'm excited that the former president says he's going to use AI, but I wonder how the fight will be won. In just 4 years, I'm thinking what different is he going to do that he hasn't done before in the fight against Galamsey. I know the Minerals Commission started a project where they were installing trackers on the various excavators. How far with that?
They park the excavator.
The excavators are not in the forest.
You know, and these are officials who are supposed to help you fight it. And they are compromised, as I said earlier.
How do you fight it? The bigger issue is arresting the people, stopping them, and taking action. The AI is identifying them.
Yes.
But will we arrest them?
No.
That's where we are.
When they are party members, will you do that?
Will you do that?
Yeah, because we've seen similar circumstances, you know. So
and don't forget that the MPP is lamenting to us that one of the reasons they lost a lot of MPs is because they were fighting Galamsey. So the consequence of the fight against Galamsey is why they lost MPs to the extent that they are struggling for one single seat in Ejisu before they can do business in the House. Now, if in 2024 they want to win bigly, will they go and fight the Galamsey, knowing that the last time we did it cost us? Now, the NDC, knowing that they benefit because of their position on Galamsey, would they go and say that, okay, you will come and fight you? Are you serious? Come and say you are going to fight? Maybe Dr. Bawumia has been moving around. He's been saying some things about Galamsey. You notice that Dr. Bawumia's message
has been very careful, very, very careful in his choice of when it comes to Galamsey. Now, he says he's going to make small-scale miners, billionaires and millionaires, but has not been specific as to whether he will continue the fight that the president started or he's going to bring something different as far as the fight is concerned. We've not heard that.
No, he will not do that.
All he's saying that he's going to make community mining will be improved, going to make...
but can't we, I mean, is it difficult to work on this community mining thing and change the dynamics to have, you know, better sustainability?
It will be difficult.
Why?
The greed factor is in there.
Everything. That's why we have laws to regulate
Vivian,
all of us, isn't
you
it?
may give me a small consignment, say this piece of land, I should do my mining here. After a period of time and I finish mining, I may move, even though the law bars me from moving to another site, I will move. When the Lands Commission, Forestry Commission official comes, I'll compromise him or her. And then I'm giving the freeway to go in there. It's about money. It's money. And when these Galamseyers open money to you,
You go run.
Change your mind.
But you see, Vivian, I think we can fight if we are committed. And for me, it's a commitment that is really the issue. I was happy when I heard President Akufo-Addo say what he said. I'll put my presidency on the line. I believed it. Sana, he tricked me. Or he tricked Ghanaians. And the next person who is making this promise is John Mahama. And of course, we've heard what Bawumia is saying. I think if there's a commitment and a zeal, it's easy to do. Vivian, there is a lot of chaos and indiscipline in Accra. It took one person, Henry Quarty, to restore order in a lot of intersections in Accra. The Reese Junction, the Zongo Junction at Medina.
Medina.
I remember I was driving through Zongo Junction, no traffic whatsoever. Kwame Nkrumah Circle, even Kaneshi. And this is because a regional minister has come and he has decided that this is what I'm going to do. Of course, he did it for some time, and then the party members
and
said,
his own party boy sabotaging him.
Yes.
He publicly complained.
they said they won't let you, they won't let you continue with what you're doing, and the whole thing collapsed. So it is leadership. Now, if President Akufo-Addo wanted to really fight this thing, despite everything else, he could have fought it, but he didn't. We saw how his minister, Professor Kwabena Frimpong at the time, the things he said before he left, and we saw what happened subsequently. Before him, the galamsey fight, we saw what Amewu did, Peter Amewu did. We saw what even Alhaji Yunus Afuseni did under the Mahama government.
Yeah.
So if there's a commitment and a decision from the top that let's do this thing, it will happen. We have the police people, we have the soldiers, they should all be deployed, and there should be strict instructions so that if the commander says that this is what we are doing, it will be done. Unfortunately, we don't see that happening. And because perhaps they've seen that, oh, Sana, the thing is party Hiaska. That's what, I mean, if the politician who is supposed to be in charge says party Hiaska, so let's allow ABCD to operate, then everybody else would operate. But if we say no nonsense, no galamsey, I think we can stop it. It's a commitment that is not there.
Right, we'll live to see that, whether we will see that day as, but we have to.
And already we warned that if cash don't take, we import water.
We owe it to the future.
Ghana Water has been saying this forever.
A lot of their dams are, and nobody's listening. That is the sad aspect of it.
Their machines.
And water company is a state institution.
Yeah, so.
And no one is listening.
Nobody's listening. Anyway, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll look at other matters arising. We'll look at the appointment of two gentlemen to the NIB. We'll also look at Vice President Bawumia. He's also been campaigning and making some interesting statements. And then we'll look at the floods at the Kaswa stretch. Just stay with us, we'll be right back. So welcome back to What the Papers Are Saying. My name is Vivian Kai Loco here with Samiri Afi as well as Umar Sanda Amadou. Gentlemen, let's go to our next topic. Dr. Bawumia has also been campaigning. He's been moving into the Christian realm and talking about the long old question of whether we should tax churches or not. He earlier made some statements, quickly changed the statements or rephrased the statements. So the Informer, for example, says, taxing churches wrong, Bawumia declares and clarifies statement. New Fighter says, taxing churches, FBOs will be counterproductive, Dr. Bawumia. And then Citi Newsroom, Ghana will struggle without churches and FBOs. I will not tax them. Were you shocked with his first statement?
No, I was not. Vivian, I know you went to Accra Girls, but before then you went to a Christian-owned school.
Church school.
Yeah, so the number of Christian schools or mission schools we have in the country are many, and a lot of them are supposed to be the first-year schools. And consistently they keep asking the government to give them back their things so that they can run it because they believe the government is not even running it well. I think the sense I get from what Dr. Bawumia was saying is that the contribution of the church, and when I use the church here, I'm meaning religion, has been immense. So the hospital I went to as a child and throughout my village life was the St. Martin de Porres Hospital at Agomanya. It's a Catholic hospital thing. Even currently, the hospital where my parents go to every now and then, St. Andrew's Hospital at Kodiabe, Catholic hospital. The place my father had his first surgery was at Bato. It's also a Catholic hospital. So we do know what the missions have done in that sector. And I think the sense I'm getting from Dr. Bawumia is that if we keep calling Danida our development partner or USAID our development partner, then we should also not forget that these churches that have built for us Presec, St. Augustine's, and all these schools are also development partners, and we should acknowledge and celebrate them. Now, my difficulty is that he made a statement and came out to say he was joking.
He was joking.
As a politician, you don't say such a thing. Because the moment you say that you are joking, the next question is, oh, so what else did you say that was not a joke? That
wasn't serious.
And yesterday, I put up a post where I said, I look forward to a presidential debate between John Mahama and Bawumia in this election year. And almost all the comments are saying John Mahama is not going to debate a joker. People are completely saying that Bawumia has become a joker. Already, NDC people have been calling you a joker. You don't have to give them opportunity. You don't have to come and say you were joking. You should rather stick to your position. One of the most controversial statements that have been made in our political space is all die be die. Nana Akufo-Addo made that statement when he was a candidate. He made the statement in Koforidua. It was recorded secretly. It was leaked. It became a big issue in this town. Everybody who mattered was condemning Akufo-Addo for that. What did he do? His party and himself decided that let's print T-shirts with all that be die behind it and wear. And I remember he went to Labadi, not La Trade Fair. I withdraw the body. Oh, fine. I withdraw the body. Went to La Trade Fair. And he repeated that statement, and he stuck to it and decided to defend and explain what they said.
But it had implications.
It did. But if you're convinced about something, you should say it and stick to it, no matter whose ox will be God. So if it meant you losing an election, you should stick to it so that people will know that, oh, for you, this is how you are. This is what you're saying. So when people like you, they should vote for you. But you don't do a U-turn because of an attack that has come on you. I do not think that I should have done the U-turn in the manner he did it. He could have simply said, because when I interviewed one of his officers, he said that Bawumia did not say he would pay churches. Bawumia said he would incentivize churches. And indeed, today he repeated the same thing in Tamale. Yeah. Now, if he said he would incentivize churches, and some media house goes to publish that he said he would pay churches, you don't have to come out and say that I was joking when I said it. Say that I did not say so. I was misquoted, because that's the sense I'm getting.
Clarify.
Yeah, clarify. But for him to say that he wants to incentivize churches, and I think promising to incentivize churches, Charlie, we've not even finished dealing with the people who we should properly pay. You've not finished paying your teacher training allowances. You've not finished paying your nursing allowances. You can't come and tell me you're going to start paying the church. I don't believe that story. I don't believe it's possible now. I don't think you should be saying it. I think there are other things you can say to the church. But I'm saying that to the extent that you have made that promise, stick to it and don't do a U-turn. Because doing a U-turn shows that you are not serious, especially when you use the word joke. So you're joking with Ghanaians. That's the sense people get. And
even on the trail you were or the platform you were, it was a serious.
It was not a joking play. Yeah, I mean, we all know that he was politically naive in the early days. He was not a politician. 2008, so we forgive him. 2012, we will still forgive him. But 2012, he went to the Supreme Court and we saw what he did in there. So we thought he was learning. 2016, he delivered. 2024, we cannot say that he is no more a politician or he's a novice. You've been vice president for 7 years. You want to be president of the country. You're leading, I can call it now the largest political party based on the electoral votes that they obtained in 2020. You cannot be leading such a party and come up and say to us that, oh, you were joking when you said what you did. Okay. For that one, it's unpardonable. It's unpardonable politically, but his proposal that they will incentivize and again, support the missions because they are development partners, I don't think that's a problem necessarily.
So I mean, there's something about campaigns and people speaking, saying things and coming back to regret it. I mean, this year alone, we've seen a lot of politicians make statements in the excitement, and then now back, Is that what we are seeing with...
On the platform, it basically enters you. So you are tempted to say... to say certain things, and later on, you will think of it and you realize, I could have, said it in a better way or in a nice way.
That don't they prepare, or when the crowd is cheering...
When the crowd is cheering out.
But you throw away your original...
But for Dr. Bawumia's case, it wasn't a crowd. It was a meeting with the clergy. And so I won't say that he was carried away by the crowd. No, it was just a small group, less than 100 or even 200 people in a small room.
Maybe
so
he was touched by the Holy Spirit.
Perhaps.
Or maybe the feedback and all the
I'm sure
room, all that.
I'm sure after the meeting, they do a review of some of the things. I'm aware that in every campaign, because of my position in following some of these candidates, after every campaign or a day of a campaign, you do a review meeting and you assess some of the things you said, the places you went.
Before it's gone into the media?
No,
after
it's gone. You do a review of the whole day strip. So I'm sure it was after the assessment. That's when he realized that, or they realized that you could have, said it way or, one way or the other. But I understand where he's coming from. He's a Muslim candidate. He must appeal to the Christian population, because the last census made us realize that the Christian population is about 70% and the Muslim 17%. So he needs the backing of the Christian community to be president of Ghana, which he wants to become. And so the campaigning on the churches and the likes is to appeal to the Christian community that when I become, even though I'm a Muslim, when I become president, this and this and this is what I'll do for the church. But maybe the communication didn't go well. He's a Muslim. A lot of people have said that because of the friction between the Christians and the Muslim, if there's a likely we have a Muslim president, they may do certain things that will go against the Christian church or the Christian community. And so, one way or the other, to assure the Christian populace that I won't do what many people think I'm going to do because I'm a Muslim. I may want to do this for the church, including the church being a partner to development. As Sandra has already said, a number of institutions here are backed by the Christian, the Christian churches, the Saint Augustine, the Saint this, and even the schools and the churches we have. So if he says that he's going to incentivize the churches, he's appealing to the Christian community one way or the other to back him win the election. Secondly, he's also gone around to make some promise in respect of the the nursing training allowance. Where a trainee, came out to challenge. And then he mentioned that today, the Accountant General was supposed to release an amount of 177 million cedis to pay all the arrears of these nursing training allowance. And so from tomorrow, the allowance is expected to drop. We'll do our checks. We'll find out from these students if indeed the allowance has come. And he even mentioned that he will ensure that Dr. Okoboy, supervises the distribution of this amount of money. Tomorrow is Friday. Perhaps on Monday, we'll do our own checks to see that if the allowance has dropped. The NDC has said that because it's an election year and you want more votes from these, nurses, you are making this particular promise, which has been in arrears for God knows how many years. So does it mean as the vice president, you didn't know there was arrears? This afternoon, Malik Basit said that as a vice president, if he's not aware that there's been arrears of nursing training allowances, then there's a problem. And so if on a campaign platform, you announce that the Controller General has, released an amount of money to pay this, then there should be an issue there. So for me, with the churches, I don't really have an issue with that. I feel he's appealing to the Christian community to back his presidential bid to become president. Okay,
let's do one more around politics. Minority on NIB boss appointment. Herald, the MPP parliamentary candidates made MD of state-owned bank. That's the Herald. New finder foreclosed critics wrong. Banking consultant Siga boss say calls for his removal lacks merit. And then we have, of course, Citi Newsroom. Ekufuado has turned NIB into a hub for party foot soldiers, minority speaking. So basically the story is we have two gentlemen. One used to be a deputy MD of the bank. He is the parliamentary candidate.
I think from Manson Quantal,
yes.
So somewhere in Ashanti.
Yes, then we have a second who actually ran for MENA at a point.
In 2020.
In 2020, now going to run the NIB.
I've heard people, challenge disappointment. Apart from the minority, I've heard other people in the banking sector, and then they lay out a number of issues. First of all, they ask, are they qualified? Do they have the requisite, qualification for these positions that they've been appointed? Was the Bank of Ghana made aware of these appointments, and did the Bank of Ghana approve them before these appointments were made? And if all the boxes are ticked, then people really don't find any problem with that. Many people will say that fine, he's politically tinted, but is he qualified? The Manson Kwata man has been deputy since 2019.
Yeah, deputy for a while.
And so
it's just been elevated.
It's just been elevated. Why wasn't a problem when he was appointed a deputy then? Why is it now? Because he's a parliamentary candidate and going to be the MD of the bank. The accusation is that 6 months or 7 months to an election, he will be the concentration will not be there because
he'll be campaigning.
He'll be campaigning. But the counter argument is that where he's going to campaign or where he's going to be a parliamentary candidate or a member of parliament, if he wins, is a safe seat for the MPP, which is the Ashanti region.
So he's not going to campaign at all.
And so that's the counter argument people have made.
Not to catch you, but as a candidate, do you just campaign for your seat? You campaign for the party as well. You get busy.
They've said that it's
a safe,
yes, to help.
It's a safe place. So spending more time and spending more concentration there will not really be necessary. And that's, you go there frequently, but not as many times as you want to go if the seat wasn't a safe seat. But because it's a safety, you won't do much activity there. You won't put in a lot of effort. But then you will stay at the bank and try to revive the bank. The NIB has been in tatters for a while. Has it not been government support? I'm sure the bank would have collapsed a long time ago. Many people have said that when the government was doing the 2019 banking cleanup, the NIB was up in there, but the government had to inject some money in there just to show up the books and make the bank the bank look good. And so, had it not been that, NIB would have, gone a long time ago. Now, if you are appointing an MD for a struggling bank, who is also a parliamentary candidate on the ticket of your party, many really say it doesn't really make sense. If he wants to do politics, allow him to go and do his politics. If he wants to do full banking for a bank that is struggling, let him have that full concentration and do so. But the question others to have asked is, did the Bank of Ghana approve? If the Bank of Ghana approved to it, then there's not really an issue to it.
Is he going full haul? As in when he becomes MP, he'll be the MD of the bank?
No, he cannot.
He cannot, yeah.
So he's just doing it 6 months and move on.
Well,
I mean, if the party...
Yes. And the thing is that it's not everything that is lawful that is right. That's the thing.
Morality and ethics.
Yeah. So it's lawful.
Even the Bible says.
Oh, the Bible says. Some is becoming a church elder soon.
Surprisingly.
Yeah. Even when it is lawful that the president has made the appointment he made. The man was a deputy MD. The MD is gone. Logically, you promote a deputy MD to fit the position. It's correct. There are people who are MDs and deputy MDs who are parliamentary candidates. Sami Oku is the Director General of the National Lotteries Authority. The time that there are so many people who have
quite a number of examples.
There are so many people. So even the president himself or the vice president himself is a sitting vice president, yet he's out there campaigning. Yeah. So you could say that, you don't have to talk about these things. His qualification is competent. Is he competent? Maybe he is. I don't know his competence in the banking sector. I have not studied him. But it's possible he is. That's why he's been there all this while. Yeah. But the question is, you've considered the other things. The bank is a struggling bank. Can we appoint people who are not politically exposed? The MPP should have about 5 million members. Out of these 5 million members, we can't get anybody who is a banker in the right sense of the word, who is not doing active politicking.
Yeah.
I mean, the distance from Accra to Manson Kwanta is far.
You said you go weekend.
You go weekend.
When the
what if the bank has to go and do a retreat in Sogakope over the weekend? Then you
won't go to the constituency.
This is a bank that is struggling. When a bank is struggling, it means that the MD is supposed to work more than 24 hours a day. You're supposed to work weekends. You're supposed to focus on building that bank back. And we know what it means to keep a bank afloat. And this is a state-owned bank. And you've decided that you take up this job for 6 months. You are campaigning. You're going to be exposed to lots of money. What if you take some of the money to go and campaign? That could be some of the issues that are... It's actually like a trap that has been set and he's put there. Because whatever the case may be, by the end of 2024, he's most likely going to leave the place. So 6 months, what stability can he really bring there? even if the MPP wins, he may likely win. It's most likely he'll win Manson Kwanta, and he cannot be an MP and also be an MD of the bank. So what it means is that whether we like it or not, at the end of 6 months, this guy is going to leave there as MD. And I'm saying
within the 6 months, you would have put in place good reforms.
Within 6 years,
this is the deputy. He also has.
Within 6 years, what did he do? So if in 6 years,
boss.
Please,
we've had the mate and driver.
He was supporting.
So he couldn't have
he was supporting the driver. If in 6 years you couldn't fix NIB, you cannot fix NIB in 6 months. And I'm saying that when they said goodbye to the MD, they should have
been added.
It should have been said goodbye to you too, or let him remain there as deputy and bring someone who is a banker or who is not actively campaigning to be elected to come and be there. I think that would be the right thing to do, and people will not be talking. But I mean, I don't know. Dead goat syndrome is setting in, and it's becoming a problem. And President Adodi, please do not become a dead goat.
You know the minorities' statement. Akufo-Addo has turned NIB into a hub for party foot soldiers.
I mean,
should we take that and say that's what it is?
Yeah, so when people say party foot soldiers, it sounds offensive, but party foot soldiers is actually just the base of the party. Yeah. So it makes, and if you're a member of parliament hopeful, then you are a base of the party, you are a grassroots person. So if foot soldier means grassroots people, then yes, it is true. That is what the case is, because you put someone who ran in Formina for you in 2020, you've decided to compensate him there because you are not going to contest Formina this year. You've decided that, Formina, the independent guy, we want him like that, so let him continue. So, we can't give you any job, so go and be deputy MD. How do we reward people for such a thing? And the guy was a deputy MD, you promote him to be MD. I don't think this is right. I don't think it is smart, and I think it is not a decision if it's taken 6 months into an election. If President Akufo-Addo wants to leave a good legacy in the finance sector or the banking sector, and we already see the records that he has there, I don't think this is the kind of decision. I've listened to the man himself speak, saying that, he'll
do an excellent job.
But I'm saying that it is not possible. I do not see it being possible. So, Dr. Bawumia, your campaign slogan is, it is possible. Keeping a parliamentary candidate as an MD at this time of a bank is not possible.
Okay.
I agree.
You agree? Okay. Well, let's see whether the president, changes this appointment. I'm not sure, because he's started work 1 week already. Next week, Monday, will be 1 week. And but we'll see how that pans out. We'll wrap up with a floods, very troubling one. On Monday, was it Monday? This Monday, we all saw some troubling footage on social media from relatives, friends, who had gotten stuck on the Malam Kaswa, highway from the floods, the water, the sand from the hills. I mean, so much going on. I went there, and
following day.
From what I've gleaned from the people I spoke to, whether authorities, whether residents or anything, honestly, I am not sure this problem will be fixed within the next 5-10 years. The problem is huge, and there's no political will. There's no will from authorities, and the actions of residents as well that may worsen the issues are not anything they will stop. So for me, if you ask me, it's going to be a very long haul.
That's my stretch. So
you were caught in it that night.
I got home around 1:30 a.m. I left the office around 9 p.m.
Oh, then the next day you shouldn't have come to work. You should have told me.
This is serious. This is serious.
Yeah, very serious.
And I saw people walk, park their cars, or even in trotros, just get out from the trotro, and we're just walking to Kaswa. And it happens almost every time it rains. I called the house not too long ago to ask if, the road is clear.
Can I come home?
It's been there for years, Vivian, ever since I moved to that side of town.
From 2008
It's been there for years. And the problem there, the construction of buildings at the top, the base, is the main problem. So when it rains, it sweeps the sun to the main road.
Because there's no vegetation on top of the mountain.
So it sweeps the entire sun to the main road. And when it does so, it blocks the road completely. And Monday's one was a very severe one. And so there was nothing really you could do about it. And it was a mixture of sun and water. If you try to go in with your car, you have a problem with your engine. And so the best thing to do was to just park your car somewhere else, allow it to subdue for a while before, but it took hours. And from there, I don't know the engineering skill anybody can use to address that problem. If you try to lift the road, you will still have the same problem because it's like a hill. Where are Samoa John's houses? It's like a hill. And so the water moves all the way from the hill to the main road, and that's where it sits. So it sits there for a while until it drains, and then you see these boys coming with shovel to just come and move the sand off the street. And when it rains again, it comes back to the road. So I don't really know how this issue can ever be solved.
They have to restore the vegetation and then also create barriers.
The last time someone was telling me, you see, it's opposite to the Wager River. So someone was telling me that then let's do a gutter. So it will take, but you can't really do that. So it take the sun water into the Wager River. That's what provides water to a number of people in Accra. And if you mix it with sun,
no, you can't because even the sun comes like sun
and kasa.
So you cannot lead the sun to the. You need to restore the vegetation to trap that.
Another thing we need to do is to delete the word works in the Ministry of Works and Housing, because that part of the ministry has not served us any purpose in a long time. We have a works and housing ministry. The works part is supposed to work on engineering, drains, and all those things. We have a works department. We have LUSPA, is a law, land use and special planning, and it's an agency. There's their authority. They are there. They're supposed to ensure this. We have town and country planning. We have district engineers. All these people sat down and watch for people to scrape the tops of the hill and put up houses there. It happened in Sierra Leone, and the mudslide killed so many people. Anytime I'm driving to the west and I see those things, I'm worried. I'm like, hey, what if this happens? What if there's a mudslide? And then it means all the houses are going to come down on the road. And the consequence we cannot withstand.
We'll never get over it.
How do we fix it? You mentioned we have to restore the vegetation. If you're going to Eburi, when you're doing the zigzag, you notice that they've put a wire mesh holding the rocks. I think that's something that we can do. But again, it may be too late because people have bought plots of land on the top there.
That's what I'm saying. The political will is not there because you need to get rid of some people to restore. Can we do it when we have those people who would get rid of the people as part of?
They want to have mountain view. So they mountain top.
Actually, the view is really beautiful. I went up the.
You almost bought a plot, didn't you?
I nearly changed my mind and called you guys and say Citi But you know the place has now become very shaky because there are huge gullies. I mean, it's scary.
And there's erosion too. So all of that is and this is you see the problem with this place is that it's our international road. That road is not a local road. It is part of the West Africa Trans Highway. So if you are from Cameroon and you're going to Senegal, this is where you are supposed to go if you want to do it by road. And yet, people spend 7 hours, 8 hours. I have a friend. This guy is a married man. He told me, Charlie, he no go fit go house. He had to sleep in his car. Another one sent a message saying he's going to look for a hotel to sleep in. Others have to go to their parents' places. Our own Wilson had to sleep in a oil filling station where he parked his car and spent the night. I mean, what have we done? What crime have we committed? And then to think that this is not going to end anytime soon.
No, it won't.
So that as soon as it starts raining, people are panicking.
And so the sad aspect is there's no alternative route.
So you see that issue of the alternative route.
That is the problem for us on that stretch.
They are, but they are not good.
They are very bad roads, very bad roads. So there's a link road from the Wager Junction that takes you through Kokrobite, and then it brings you to the Tuba Junction. That is in a very terrible state. So you can't really use that side.
Otherwise, you could do that.
You could do that. So the only option is the main road in there. And so if that one is blocked, then that's it. You are cut off. You are cut off.
And it's a
and the population in Kaswa, it keeps growing by the day.
Over 1 million.
Kaswa keeps growing every day. So if people tell me that Kaswa is in Central Region, I tell them no, it's in Accra. It's no more in Central Region because immediately you cross the toll booth, you are in Kaswa. And the population keeps going every day the population keeps going. And I don't know why the politicians are not planning for for the growth of, I don't know.
We have a local assembly there that's supposed to issue permit. We have road engineers who are supposed, we have urban roads department, highways department, all of these were supposed to make sure these things are, the drains that are going to be constructed, there should be a specific size that is done.
They are doing 6 by 3.
So this road is a what? It's a 3-lane dual carriageway,
It's
right?
Two.
Oh, it's 2 lane.
Two here.
No, it's not 3. I thought at a
it's
point,
two.
okay.
It's two, yeah.
So it's supposed to have taken care of the traffic situation, and yet we are running into traffic situation because of water. And when that happens, it blocks the entire lane, and you have to be struggling and maneuvering on one road. For me, let's stop the people who are built there. Let's remove them and compensate them. Let's build trees and grasses and vegetation up there. Let's fix drains that will collect the water and prevent that thing from happening. And let's not allow anybody to go and build up there again. And if it is sand winning or construction work that is happening, let's prevent all of that. I think those are the solutions that we have to put in place. And we have to wake up. This should be declared a national disaster zone. And we should not sleep until we fix it. But unfortunately, after Tuesday, we've gone back to sleep. Tonight, as it's about to rain, people were anticipating, and you've heard him, he's calling home to check.
We are praying for them, so it doesn't get bad. So they won't go through what they went through.
Maybe I have to look for money and move from there. Get a house in Makati or somewhere, so I can still have the mountain view.
Tell the president you want to be at Ebury, near the Jubilee House Annex. What's the name of that one?
Pediatric
Lodge.
Well, gentlemen, thank you so very much for joining me today, and thank you to our viewers. I have a team of people who watch me every day. It's actually the don't say anything.
Okay.
The University of Ghana Business School, IBAS International Business Team, 2023-2024. Thank you to all of you.
Shout out.
Sorry, which school again? Which school?
University of Ghana Business School.
UGBS.
Yes, please.
Hey.
Shout out.
Thank you so much. You, the two of you, get memo.
Vivian was head of business news. So University of Ghana, what business school? What's it called? Which year group?
2023-2024.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
To them. Oh, you are part of them.
But everybody knows I'm part of them.
We are happy for them.
We are wrapping up now.
Thank
you for joining us. We'll see you again. Goodbye. Good night. Yeah,